How you doing, Bruin fans? Todd Reeves here with your UCLA Daily Report, part of the Fan Arch Network. Glad you've joined me on this Wednesday, April 8th, 2026. Plenty to talk about today. We got some women's basketball, some football spring practice, and of course, the transfer portal in men's basketball is open. And there are a ton of players already in, but we will discuss that a little bit later. So first of all, let's start off with women's basketball and the women's team making the rounds around Southern California, celebrating their championship. Last night, they were honored by the LA Lakers at halftime of their game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that was nice to see. And then tonight, the champs will be celebrated at Pauley Pavilion. It's free for all Bruin fans, but you have to have a ticket. So go online quickly because the celebration is tonight. So go online quickly to the UCLA website, or you can go, it's on UCLA Women's Basketball social media. All of those places have the link where you click and just order your tickets. Even though it says buy, it is perfectly free. So it doesn't cost you anything. And you can go there and celebrate with the champs at Pauley Pavilion. And believe me, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I remember me and a friend went to the championship celebration at Pauley after UCLA won the 1995 championship. And my friend has, hopefully lying around, has a VHS copy, I should say, of the tape that he filmed of the celebration with his camcorder. And if you're watching, you know who that is. And I mean, and it was a day that I'll never forget. And it was great to celebrate with those guys as well. And, looking at social media, the Norman Powell. There was a video of him watching the end of the game and celebrating the championship. Of course, he's teammates with Jaime Jaquez, and Norman Powell, who spent 4 years in the UCLA program, said, he I think his last year at UCLA was Corey Close's first year, so he knows the kind of coach she is, and it's just great to have a celebration like this, and for Bruin fans. And even though you may or may not be the biggest women's college basketball fan, it brings the community together when you win a championship like this. Even if, you started watching a week ago, or if you've been following this team, for the last 10 years, it's just an amazing run by amazing team and amazing coach. And it's only right that they celebrate this, and how it brings the community of UCLA fans together is just wonderful. And that's why we cheer for these teams, that we can have moments like this. And there'll be another one tonight at Pauley, and I hope if you can make it, let's fill Pauley and have it sold out and full, and celebrate the champs, which I know there'll be more celebrations to come, but this is a special one tonight. So hopefully a lot of fans will make it out to Pauley to do that. Also, one of the things that was interesting was Bob Chesney, in his remarks yesterday after spring practice, said that he was there, by the way, at the game, sitting next to Martin Jarman, and he said he knew right away when the teams came out for warmups, just by kind of intimated that it was like body language or the attitude that they were showing. He knew UCLA was going to win before they even tipped it off. So hopefully Bob is an expert at body language and what team's going to win. And hopefully his football team later in the fall can display the same body language and the same attitude as the women's team did before the championship game against South Carolina. But let's get on to more news that's directly affects Bob Chesney, and that is spring practice. Day 3 happened yesterday. Again, we mentioned before, UCLA practicing on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And yesterday was day number 3. And it was interesting, a couple of things just from his press conference afterwards. Some of the things that he said. One is he likes to keep things fresh. Practices are not the same day after day. It's not like, first 10 minutes we're always doing this, second, 30 minutes we're always doing this. He keeps things fresh. He keeps things different, and it also, keeps the players on their toes. Another thing that was observant was he said he likes to get involved as much as he can in practices. He was jumping into drills a few times, and he says he likes to go around and make the the drills feel special, and he's trying to make an impact with each one of these players, not just the starters or the star quarterback or anything like that. He makes a point to go around and talk to the scout team and some of the walk-ons and that sort of thing. So Coach Chesney really keeping himself busy out there. He's not one of these coaches that's kind of like old school, like the Bear Bryants or the Tom Landrys that would, stand up high in one of those big scissor lifts and, bark orders from a megaphone and, be standoffish with the team. That's the exact opposite with Coach Chesney. And another interesting thing he did was he had a TV timeout, so to speak. And what it was just a break. And so he mentioned how, like they spend time with the running game on offense and the running game on defense, and then the passing game on offense, passing game on defense. And then they kind of take that TV timeout to try to simulate game situations where, play is going to happen, a drive here, and then, there's a punt or a break in the action, and then you take a TV timeout. He wants to try to keep things a little bit close to a game type situation. And so he took a timeout and he said that the offensive coaches get with the offensive team, the defensive coaches get with the defensive team, and then they go over what went well, what didn't work well in the running game or the passing game, offensively and defensively. They go over those plays with the players, and then after the TV timeout is over, they come back together and run some more of the plays against each other to see, what adjustments have been made and are the players picking up what the coaches are trying to tell them. So everything seems positive as far as practice goes out there on Wasserman Field, and hopefully things will keep going well and as few injuries as possible. Although there were a couple of injuries of note that didn't happen in practice; they happened before. But Coach Chesney gave some updates. Scott McCullough, who is fighting to be a starting defensive end for this team, he's a transfer from Cal, so he's new to the team. He has an injury. We don't know what it is. They're not going to announce what these injuries are, but he wasn't out there and hasn't been out there in spring. And also, the starting center from last year, Sam Yoon, has not been out there. Both of them have been working over to the side. And Coach Chesney said today that McCullough is closer to coming back than Yoon, but he doesn't expect either of them to be ready for spring practice at all. By the time the spring ends, they'll still be recovering from these injuries, whatever they may be. So we'll see what happens with those two things. On the positive side, again, more than 70 recruits were out there watching practice. And when I say these recruits, these are not necessarily 2027 recruits that are coming in next year, because as we have mentioned before in other shows, UCLA was kind of, at least this coaching staff was kind of behind as far as 2027 recruits go. Um, and so they're kind of playing catch up, and they still are. But there are recruits from the 2028 class, 2029 class, and 2030 class out there. So what they're showing these recruits is they're building a foundation, I think, as far as a recruiting base. And hopefully, if there's some success on the field, that'll show up. And then when you have the December signing period, maybe some more 2027 players will sign after a successful season, first season for Coach Chesney. And then also laying the foundation for future recruiting classes, 28, 29, and 30. They can see already the type of coaching staff that Bruins have, and hopefully that will translate to the field and then keep these recruits interested in coming and playing for UCLA. So you have all that going on football. Let's switch it over to basketball and the transfer portal. But before that, we have some breaking news. Breaking news here at the time of this recording. It has been announced by Bruin Report Online. I'm going to give them credit. That's announced on social media that Sky Clark will not be coming back to the UCLA program. There has still been no decision by the NCAA on his 6 year of eligibility. That still hasn't been ruled on. That's not the situation at all. It wasn't like he was ruled ineligible. They could not come to terms as far as an NIL package for him if the NCAA rules he can have another year. So Sky Clark has left the program. He will not be back, and he has entered his name into the portal. So he will not be playing for UCLA. He may be playing for another school if he's granted the waiver. If he's not granted the waiver, then he'll have to move on to the professional ranks. But either way, you will not see Sky Clark in a UCLA uniform next year. And it also means that's another spot that UCLA is going to have to fill with the transfer portal. So they'll be looking for now a two guard, a small forward or a three, a wing player, and a big man, a center. And so far, the reports are on social media of the NIL asking price for a lot of these big men is astronomical right now. It's crazy. So we'll see if things, kind of temper down a little bit as far as their asking price. But right now, again, a little bit of a slow period here. It's not like NFL free agency when like as soon as free agency opens, bam, you have signings with these big contracts. It's not like that. These players are taking their time. Remember, they have NBA aspirations as well, and the NBA season's still going on. So we don't even know how long it's going to take for them to get word from NBA scouts and stuff and see where they're slated as far as draft picks go before they even decide whether they want to stay in college and then choose a new school to go to, or maybe even stay at the school they're already at. So, a lot of steps here in the process as far as the transfer portal goes, and we'll see. Hopefully, we will get some signings by tomorrow. We'll see, but again, still a little bit slow. A lot of players though in the portal, over 1,000 on the first day, and there'll be more. There'll be plenty more. As we said, Sky Clark just put his name into the portal, so there's a lot of guys out there that still haven't put their name in the portal that eventually will. And then we'll see how what UCLA does and how they react to those different things. Well, I wanted to finish up again, staying with men's basketball and the game on Monday night where Michigan won the national championship. And yesterday, Bill Plaschke of the LA Times came out with a little op-ed piece saying that Michigan winning is a kind of a negative towards Mick Cronin because, Daimara was at UCLA, looked for a better situation, maybe NIL wise, maybe team wise, playing wise, and it turned out perfect for him because he got a big payday from NIL. And now he has a national championship as a member of the Michigan Wolverines. Does that say something uh, negative towards Mick Cronin? There's some definite Bruin basketball fans out there that would say absolutely that is a negative, that it's just another kind of nail in the coffin, or what should be in the coffin as far as Mick Cronin's coaching career at UCLA. But there's others that say, that has nothing to do with Mick Cronin. Yeah, Mara had a good situation in Michigan, but he had a good situation here. It was the other players around Mara that helped him get that championship. And it's not a reflection of Mick Cronin at all. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Leave it in the comments down below. Let me know. Um, I'm kind of mixed. I'm kind of more on the side of I don't think it really affects or really says anything negative about Mick Cronin. It was a guy that, Mick Cronin maybe could have used a little bit better, but Mara wanted to go somewhere else. And, that's not Cronin's fault. Cronin can only do what he can do. If a player doesn't want to play at UCLA for whatever reason, like you can maybe blame the coach, but there may be other factors as well. So that we don't even know about. So it's kind of hard to make judgments on those sort of things. And, it's just because Mara had success at another school doesn't mean you take UCLA down a notch or hammer Mick Cronin for it or anything like that. And why did Bill Plaschke write that? I'm not sure. He writes a lot of interesting things, let's say. Some I agree with, some I don't. And I don't necessarily agree with this one, but I can kind of see the point that he's making. But let me know. So, what you think. So, leave the comments. Don't forget to rate us on Spotify. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. And also give us the thumbs up and like this video and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and gets more Bruin fans involved. And, we can, more Bruin fans, the merrier. And a lot of merry going around, especially at Pauley Pavilion tonight at 6 p.m. So get out there and celebrate the women's team and their championship. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care, everybody.